Okay, so we're going to do part two of lesson 42, walking through music playback systems, as well as closing up music scheduling. So here is with the lesson with Zeta walkthrough for new users. I know that I did man, I mixed up the two. I did the more advanced one, well, the Q&A one first in the part one, and here's the walkthrough for new users, which is what I should have actually done in part one, and now I'm doing in part two of the lesson. Anyway, okay, we're going to start off with this, finish up the lesson, and then close up with Genesis. Enjoy. Let me just put the high quality over higher quality. If it wouldn't freeze, it'll be. Let's give it a second. There we go. Stop.
Here, and we're doing this, Thursdays, 11 a.m. Eastern time, talking about RCS, Zeta, G Selector, Acquira, Revma, Zeta Cloud, and we have, you can see, some unique products on the horizon as well, introducing the brand new products we have coming out, including audio display and other little surprises that I cannot talk about just yet. But I thought today, it's been a while. Let's look at Zeta. If you're, let's say, a new user to Zeta, or you're looking at new automation systems and you're kind of like, all right, what does Zeta offer? What does Zeta bring to the table? I thought we'd just do a little quick and brief overview of what Zeta can do in a modern solution with customizable and flexible options for you as well. So we'll do that today. As always, don't forget, we're always looking for beta users. And you can also check us on the road as well. We are going to be out and about. We have the CBI College Broadcasters. This will be in Orlando, Florida in a couple of weeks. I will be there. And then, of course, we're going to display. We're going to premiere our audio display. That's going to be on October 26th at 11 a.m. Eastern time, our typical time. We're going to introduce audio display. You can already see some details now at audiodisplay.com. And then we have November 7th and 9th, the Casper Show. And the 16th, 17th, we're going to be over in Alaska for the Alaska Broadcast Association. I will be there as well, hosting a bunch of sessions. We're going to do some RCS Academy. We're going to do some cool stuff with talking about, I believe, everything from cloud to AI to everything in between as well over at the Alaskan Broadcasters. And if there's somewhere you want us to be, you can always reach out to marketing@rcsworks.com or email myself or whoever your local RCS rep is. We'll get you in touch over there. And we'll talk about whatever you want to talk about. That's the beauty of some of these RCS lives, right? And as always, I do have my chat open as well. So if you have questions for me, feel free to check in. Ooh, hello, Mark. How's it going, Mark? Yes. Hello, Di. How's it going? And all that stuff. So thank you for checking in, everybody. We love this stuff. So I thought for today, we would kind of talk about just an aerial overview of Zeta, right? And all of the really cool things you can do inside the software. You'll hear me say a lot of times, modern, customizable, and flexible. And what do we mean by some of those? We really start to introduce some of these modern workflows. The idea that we're sitting in one single chair doing multiple tasks on multiple different stations. The idea here is to maximize your time and energy to make you more efficient, right? That's the idea here. So the first thing is we look at Zeta. We're talking about modules. Everything is modules inside of Zeta. So you can see here from the very top, we have my on-air module, the log in the bottom left, the library here in the bottom right. I could take something like my hotkeys, left click it, and notice how I can move these up, down, left, or right. And for those advanced users, hit the control key, and you can see that module docking will disappear right there too. But if I go ahead and left click this, it will dock it to the right. This is an entire grid that we can save per user if we wanted to. I can also left click that header, put it in the center, and I have these two tabs side by side if I wanted to. Now here's the beauty about customizing your Zeta experience. You want to see more elements in the on-air module? Bring it down. Save your layout. It will always look like this. You want to see less? Bring it up. You can see less if you wanted to. Now, there's some users who don't want all the bells and whistles. They want a very simple layout, and Zeta can deliver that. We can essentially take profiles, make them complex, make them simple, and we can lock it for some of those users as well, those weekenders or the ones that just don't need all the bells and whistles. And the key thing there is you can lock it, right? And part of the beauty with Zeta is that we also have this detached play out over here on the right-hand side. Now, one of the things that we have in our archive over here, and we found my my captions here, don't forget about the archive, rcsworks.com/rcs-live. That's a great resource for all of our past videos. And there's some great ones on there, topography and configuration with Jeff Ziegler. That was a phenomenal one talking about Zeta vocabulary. And these are all free resources for you. So if you want to fill in some of these gaps or you're curious, you want to see more videos about how Zeta can really make you more efficient, that's the URL right there. rcsworks.com/rcs-live. Great, great resource. There's a lot of videos there. I'll be the first one to tell you. So if you're curious about like, hey, Nate, I'm looking for this topic or whatever it is, always reach out, as I said, right? That could be, again, through me, through your RCS contact, support, whoever it is, will get you in touch with the right videos. In fact, if you go to the blog section of rcsworks.com, each one of these videos has a written blog attached to it. So you can think, okay, well, Zeta splits. What are Zeta splits? You can read about it first. And if that sparks your interest, you can then go online and watch more of that video there too. So in regards to that detached playout, what that means is everything in Zeta has built-in services, right? Much more reliability, stability, and security in the cyber world. And what that does essentially is you define what machine is in charge of playing that particular station. It's a very, very modern workflow there. And the best part is that you can then close G Selector, reopen G Selector, switch your layouts, if you will, and you're never going off the air because Zeta is actually running behind the scenes, right? A modern solution for you. Now, on top of that, it's also an enterprise solution. I can have all these stations in here. So again, that one user, right, in one chair accessing multiple stations, I can switch to my classic rock and look at that. There's my classic rock station. So let's pretend we have a hot AC and a classic rock, and it's a Sunday night, the last man or woman standing. We want to make sure we see a snapshot of everything we have. Well, in that case, I'll just go to my layouts here. In the very bottom, I have an RCS Live side-by-side layout. I'm going to switch over to that one. Again, I'm not going to affect any of the on-air playout because of those services behind the scenes. And now you can see here, I have my two stations side by side. I can see my RCS Hot AC. I can see my classic rock. I can be in my production room if I wanted to, and I can utilize some of these features and tools here if I wanted to. That's really, really cool. And again, if I'm done, I don't need to look at both these stations, jump back to the layout, go over here, jump back to my simple hot AC. And just like that, I'm back to where I was originally in my Zeta layout, right? It's really, really cool. Talking about customizing this to your workflows, different types of Zeta features. We have the logs modules. Again, no restrictions on, if you look at the top right, there's all our stations, and these are my date ranges. Notice how I scheduled out the 31st because there's no restrictions on dates, right? And so then from there, I can go, I'm telling all my users right now, there's nothing stopping you from working on Christmas logs, right? Very briefly, I have the mini logs over here. I can build my year-end countdown. I can build in my Christmas logs. I can send it. I can voice track it. I can have that done by Thanksgiving here in the States if I wanted to. Really cool stuff there. All of this is customizable. Right-click on here, insert. This is just some of the information you can include in any of these fields. Like, for example, I always love to put in the last modified or date created for those news, traffic, and weather forecasts. Make sure that they're there and they're updated. Same thing applies to here in the library. Right-click and insert. All those same fields are there over here too as well. Let me go to the actual songs here to put some actual data in there for you. You can see there, same exact ones, right? Really cool stuff there. In addition to that, in the logs module over here, everything here is, again, as I say, customizable. We can filter this by the user. So, for example, maybe you're a voice tracker, right? And you just want to see only the voice tracks in the song, something like that. you can really cater that experience. Everything here is completely voice trackable and segue edited. So I can click on the little record button right here, and I can go, and there's my voice track right here. I'm gonna hit record right now. And if you notice, oh, Nate, you started recording. Well, you've seen my past videos on this. I always say, let's work smarter, not harder. So I'm gonna do a 3, 2, 1. Hey, what's up? It is Nate. We're here for WRCS FM's RCS Live with Shallow, and this is Peaches on WRCS FM. And, oh, I forgot to hit stop. Okay, I'll hit stop there. Now I'm going to zoom out using my cursor. Look right where my cursor is. Go zoom in, zoom out. I can use the progress bar here as well. You and I both know that 1, 2, 3 here. My level's a little low there, but I'll deal with that. And I can just right-click and say, hey, I'm going to right-click on this, set the trim in, gone, right? Go over here, right-click, set the trim out, gone. Take over here, move it nice and neat, something like this. Notice the dynamic features here. We have ducking enabled right now. Shout out to auto ducking in Australia. And then from there, if let's say you want it, you can always right click it and just turn it off if you wanted to, or keep it disabled, your choice. But notice how it's dynamic here, working with you, not against you. And I can save this right here. There's my voice track all ready to go. And of course, let's say I mess up the middle portion. It's like halfway through and I want to just get rid of one little phrase there. I can right click on this. And of course, oh yeah, sure enough, Zeta has a single and a multi-track editor built inside. So I can take this, delete that middle portion, and I can save my heads and tails again and fix that transition. No, I'm not going to save my changes. No, I'm not going to save my voice track transition. It's just a very modern, easy, flexible, way to voice track your station. Again, working smarter, not harder. Trim in, trim out. And then, of course, from there, doing your single or multi-track editor as well. I'm going to jump over here to my client-side search. This is my library. I'm moving quick for time purposes, but if you have any questions or certain topics you want to show, I do have my chat open here as well, because as we know, Zeta is our favorite, right? Right, exactly. And so what we can do here is I can filter this any way I want. I can sort A to Z, click it again, Z to A. I can go my filter and type in Beyonce here if I wanted to. Boom, there's Beyonce records. I can also go and say, show me only a category B. And there's my category B if I wanted to. I can go and say, show me the alternative category or the sound code. Boom, done. Very easy, flexible. And of course, if I want to add this song, just a left click. And look at that. There's that little blue line there. Any of these modules all throughout Zeta, left click, drag, and drop. Again, I'm moving quick here for time purposes, but I can take my multi-track editor, again, from the same chair, multiple stations, doing an on-air roll, switching to a production roll. I'm going to take this 30 here, drag it over, take this 30 here, drag it over, go over here and do a tag. I can't do my usual demo tag because for copyright purposes, so I'll say, don't forget to check us out over at WRCSFM.com. Boom, there's my tag. I can save this inside of Zeta, outside of Zeta, or as a project like a weekly concert or community calendar. I need a reference later. Notice how I'm starting to take all these little pieces and combine them into one. So I am sitting on the air. I do my 45 break. I got 10 minutes to kill. Hey, let's switch over to multi-track editor. Let's update our concert calendar or community calendar. Let's save it. Then we drag in the log. Super quick, super easy. And that's really, really helpful tool for you as well, right? And then, of course, let's talk about for a second about adding songs. And Mark, of course, was right ahead of me as always, Mark. We're going to say how to, have songs not being able to play in the wrong database. Now, we'll say, station versus database, but I got you. And so what we do here is let's talk about adding a song. I'm going to just double click on this one right here. And let's go open my metadata cart, make it nice and big. And what are we looking at here? And I have a great video again on our archive over at rcsworks.com/rcs-live. That's how to add a song in G Selector. There's also one for, Zeta and G Selector as well. And in Zeta, there's multiple ways that we can add elements inside of Zeta. We can always go over here and burn it from a CD. We can find it via Windows Explorer. We can drag and drop it into Zeta. We can do a mass importer. We can do an auto load, all those great tools. And the beauty about Zeta is, again, modern and flexible. We can take WAV, MP3, FLAC files, AAC files, ingest them into Zeta, and we save a non-destructive copy of that piece of audio. Watch this. I'm going to click right here, my marker. See that? I'm going to click over here on the trim in. There's my new trim in point. All of the processing is done within Zeta itself, right? It is non-destructive processing. And if you notice, we don't go here and delete the audio. We say that's the new trim in marker. So if we have, let's say, I want to increase the song by 3%, we can do that inside of Zeta. It's a quick little setting. And then after a month, that experiment didn't work as well as I wanted to. Bring it back down to 0. Guess what? All of our music is safe and sound, non-destructive audio. So we take those WAV, AAC, MP3 files, bring them into Zeta, save them as typically a WAV file by a default audio format. And then we even do a marks analysis if you want to, which is we can set the trim in, trim out, segue points automatically inside of Zeta. In addition to that, we can also do a station-specific normalization. So when we have a lot of cooks in the kitchen from multiple different sources and destinations, notice the output is all consistent across the board. So now we're talking about, okay, well, I have an auto load MP3. I'm going to add a WAV file, but my normalization level is -3. Mark is going to add his AAC file. His normalization levels are 0, right? It's all going to be saved and played out the same with non-destructive behavior inside of Zeta, which is awesome. And then the left-hand side, these check marks here, that means it's active or not active, right? Active or not active. That's the idea there. If it is not active on a station, then you can essentially not play that asset anywhere, not in the hotkeys, not in the on-air module, not in the log. It will queue up in the log and it will tell you that, hey, I'm not active, but you can never play anything that's not allowed to play inside the Zeta world. So very, very flexible. Oh, and by the way, if only there was a live log integration with G Selector, our music scheduler, as well. So when I add that brand new asset and I put a title and the artist and the category and the mood and the energy, the tempo, and all these custom attributes, they're also copied over to G Selector. In case you didn't hear me whispering, they're also copied over to G Selector live in real time. So your ASCAP, BMI, sound exchange reporting, reconciliation is done live in real time. Boom, no extra work for you. You're adding a song in once, you're putting the attributes in once, and of course, you're reconciling and reporting once across the board. Again, modern delivery mechanisms here inside of Zeta, a phenomenal solution for you and your team for the automation spectrum. Now, we have, of course, everything we can show for this short video. Hotkeys in here, both audio and non-audio triggers. The multi-track editor we briefly showed on. There's all these additional modules here, like the audition and the, let's see here, the clocks or the notes or the Z player and the stacks. We don't have time for that for the short video. But, you know, hey, we're too busy because we're working remotely over here as well. Let's go jump to our remote capabilities and look at Zeta to go over here. So you can see, boom, there is my URL. It's just your Zeta to go service or your Zeta server / Zeta to go. So Chrome, Firefox, Safari, Edge, your tablet, your iPhone, your Android. Obviously, the laptop's the best experience because it's going to give you all of those great audio input outputs as well as a larger screen size. But yeah, we can do a quick little thing on your iPhone. Totally done. On your Android, to be fair too. Again, works on modules. I have 4 modules open here: on air, hotkeys, logs, and my voice track module. There's also, in addition to that, the library in the system monitor to see how your stations are doing. I always tell users, this is made to enhance, not replace the Zeta experience, right? So for example, controlling the on-air product, hotkeys, find them live across the air, live in real time, adjusting and viewing the log, voice tracking, adding songs and other elements, seeing a snapshot of your station, your databases. That's all done over here in Zeta to go. The multi-track editor, those are modules that are saved for the Zeta client. And so, yes, that's why I say made to enhance, not replace the Zeta experience. But this is super powerful. We got users who essentially want to save production rooms, right? So, hey, I need to go and add a song quickly on the fly. I'm a production director or a program director at my desk. The production director's in the studio. Oh, hey, Di, are you off? Are you done yet? When are you taking lunch break? I need to add a song. No. Use Zeta to Go as a floating production studio so the PD at his desk can go and log into Zeta to Go. Now he's in the office, so he doesn't need a VPN. Outside the office, you do need a VPN for security purposes. But I can go there in the office, connect to Zeta to Go, add my song, hit save, done, right? We have a lot of users looking at kind of tapping into floating Zeta to Go production rooms type of thing, right? And again, remember, just double check, enhance, not replace. So there's certain things that we want to make sure we talk about there. But again, everyday usage, this is perfect for you as well. You're on a remote. You're broadcasting live at a morning show diner, and all of a sudden, you have full control over the on-air station. Now, I'm going to just kind of shrink this just for one quick second. Let's see this kind of, toggle with me here. And I'll have live assist. I'm going to put this in manual here. Notice it's back in manual. I hit stop over here. It stops, it goes away, right? Now I can control this. Oh, wait a second. I'm off the air. It's 11 o'clock at night. Nowhere to go anywhere. Boom, I can do right here. Hey, look, I'm in manual. Oh, fire that. Back in live assist. Done. Just like that, right? I can go over here to one of these songs over here and just say, let me go to my home screen here. That's the auto scroll home. I'm going to switch this over here and show you the system monitor for a second because I have that queued up automatically. And let's go over here. It's just for, you can tell I'm working in a smaller window here. There is a little skip option here. I don't want this song TLC, right? Or I'm going to do the sweeper instead. I'm going to skip this. Look, boom. That's going to skip her. That's done, right? Hey, the mayor's coming in. Yeah, let's skip this element. We don't have to worry about it, right? Let's skip it so that the users later on can see that I skipped that song. I didn't delete it. I skipped it for viewing purposes. And then I go back here and say, oh, you know what? The mayor's busy. Put it back in. Uncheck it. Back in the log just like that, live in real time. Zeta to Go, remote companion to Zeta. Super, super powerful there as well. And Jeff was saying, yes, thank you, Jeff. Always there for me, Jeff. Since it's football season, you can do Zeta to Go and work well by running the ball game from the field. We have a lot of users that do utilize Zeta to Go remotely. Now, again, VPN access. Some users don't want to get VPN access too. So what you can do in Jeff's example there, have a laptop with an embedded VPN, just hit connect with the saved password, have a little USB interface like that guy over there, have a decent mic. You can do a play-by-play on a game, any sporting event, just like that if you wanted to. So really, really powerful stuff. And of course, as we keep going, we talk about these new products as well. Don't forget about Zeta Cloud-based disaster recovery. That's in the mix as well, taking all of your audio, your backups, and you can continue to broadcast live remotely with Zeta Cloud that has an encoder built into it with a URL. And again, all of your assets, your backups are saved to Zeta Cloud too. So really, really cool and helpful modern solutions here. So I'll do last call here for questions in case you have anything I wanted to clarify there. But again, let's just summarize, when I say things like modern, customizable, flexible solution, right, for radio automation software. We have enterprise. Anywhere here in Zeta, one chair, multiple stations, multiple roles, all from right here, right? I have modules all across the board. We have a detached playout, so I can close, reopen, I can switch layouts, never affecting the on-air playout here. It's a very, very powerful tool. We can customize the logs, customize the library, easy left click, drag and drop. Oh, I forgot to tell you, this right here is a dynamic on-air sequencer. Some other systems will very kind of politely hint that, if it's queued up in here in the queue, you can't really touch it. You can't really touch it. Some things happen. There's some weird behaviors. I voice tracked out of heat waves with 30 seconds left to go. Now, would you do that? Absolutely not. You would not do that. That's a bad idea. But it's good to know you can, and you can do that with Zeta as well. So, and of course, we talked about the way to customize it and flexible. Again, the flexible user, as well as to customize this and tailor it to each user, their settings, their colors. You can see I have dark mode on here right now, but we also have light mode and our metal mode. You can see I have some color formatting here on my sound codes, as well as here as well. So all my songs are blue, some sweepers are yellow, green for the spots, and you can customize those colors any way you want. If only there were more videos somewhere where you can go, Nate, to go look at all of these past videos in more detail. Oh, wait, there is.
You can.
RCS Live. There's videos on appearances. There's videos in the multi-track editor. There's Zeta cloud-based disaster recovery videos there as well. All of that good stuff is available for you over at rcsworks.com/rcs-live. And if you go to the blog section, each one of these videos off.
Yeah, very cool. I think we are well introduced to Zeta or Zeta. All right, I'm gonna just stop that. Just want to close that over there. Just make sure that the Genesis one does not start. Okay. Let us complete the lesson and then close up with Genesis, which is what you will be using for your practical as we keep talking about it for the next semester. All right. So just to finish up the our chat about music scheduling and around music itself, there's an article that I put a link to just over here that you can also just go and click on and have a look at. Wandisile Somdyala went and wrote a great piece about specialty shows and music shows. So what's a specialty show? As we know, things like, for example, top 40s, gospel shows, dance shows, etc. And this is what she had to say as part of an excerpt from that article. The term specialty music show in the context of radio broadcasting usually refers to a time slot segmented to playlist a specific genre of music. And that show also is branded through its name and backing music, among other things, to clearly identify as a specialty music show. The kind of segmenting of a radio broadcasting time slot is psychographic segmentation. You've heard me say psychographic so many times, you understand now exactly what it means. Segmentation of an audience. Psychographic segmentation essentially uses interests, values, lifestyles, etc., as tools to target audiences. In the context of radio broadcasting, well, specialty music shows are set aside to target those listeners who will tune into their preferred radio show to enjoy music and content specific to their interests, while also actively participating in show features and during the show expressing their personality traits, interests, and values through studio calls and social media posts. Now, for us across public broadcasting services, PBS stations, and commercial stations in South Africa, specialty music shows are a standard feature to a lineup. This means radio shows, or radio stations, should I say, are likely to have specialty music shows. You like the word specialty, it's coming up a lot, right? Music shows that playlist, for example, music genres such as gospel, jazz, and reggae, among many others, should I say. So these types of shows are also associated significantly with appointment. Excuse me, let me say that again. With appointment listening. So in other words, telling me, I know that on a Saturday it's starting at 10 o'clock or 9 o'clock, or on a Friday at 6 o'clock, 7 o'clock, 8 o'clock, whatever it may be, right? As interests or from listeners tune in habitually to access precisely music and content that relates to their interests, which is a true statement. And funny enough, she is from True FM out. I think True FM is out in Rustenburg, as far as I know. Yeah, True FM. Yeah, also really good. I mean, a great station that has done many great things in the past couple of years as a new commercial station. All right, did you know the following? Right, the top 40 charts or top 40 radio was the brainchild of someone called Todd Stores, the owner of a radio station in Omaha, Nebraska. So he noticed that a jukebox owner. So if you don't know what a jukebox is, I'm sure you do. When you go to a couple of bars, I think we might have maybe one or two places that actually have jukeboxes. It's a little machine. It's quite actually a big machine, should I say, where you go and you'll put in money, and then you. Oh, I'm trying to think now. Only a really great place might have one of these here because it's obviously a vintage thing, but very big in the 50s, 60s, etc. Anyway, you would put in, let's say, your coin or your penny, I suppose in America, and then you would go and choose a particular song for yourself, and it would play, let's say, in the restaurant or pub or the little like coffee shop that you're at, right? Anyway, so he noticed that jukebox owners selected a relatively small number of songs very regularly, and he decided to play the top current songs in heavy rotation. So he began the top 40 category. And when playing 40 tracks exclusively and extensively throughout all programs, there was a risk that the audience might become a little bit tired of the music. But he had two other boxes in studio, right? Actual boxes, with where the presenters could take one from each box in turn, returning to the used disc to the back of the original box. So they would take, and then obviously whatever they're playing, they'd take that out and put it back in. The A box might contain five or six of the most popular current hits, while the B box contains a much larger number of songs. So that's when we say like Bubbling Under, for example, would be a much larger category for us to select music from. And again, music that is more like widely becoming popular, or let's say has been popular and is becoming less popular, right? Including these formerly on the A list, as you said, as I said there now, not you, me, and new releases yet to reach their peak. The B box, right? Depending on the size of the B list, the repetition of songs might vary from once every hour, or 2 hours, should I say, for the top songs, to once per 4 or 5 hours for others. All these were added to the boxes then too, and so we got categories, right? So while different software offers a range of options, such as programs that you've seen now with Zeta, we're going to have a look at in a moment just to close up this particular lesson. So the Monday lesson for music scheduling. We'll look at Genesis in just a moment. Well, they are driven by three main sets of data. One, the universe of music tracks, each identified in addition to the title, the artist, the general category, the number characteristics, including its duration, its length of the intro, how it ends, its texture, its tempo, its era, its male, female vocal instrumentals, and so on and so forth, which is why a music scheduler, right, a music compiler, is a separate and full job altogether because it's, that person's profession is very, very, very detailed, just like anyone else's. So you can't just be doing music scheduling like on the side if you know very little about it or whatever it may be. You won't be effective and the station will obviously suffer because of it. Some tracks could be stipulated to be good house starters, or should I say, no, hour starters. I'm thinking clubs, yeah. Anyway, while others might have scheduling restrictions limiting them to only certain times of the day. So this is obviously a process that is constantly updated. Do you understand? And then again, why is it? Why do we have a music scheduler working full time? Because that's what they do the whole time. Into like obviously upload new songs. Obviously, as you saw, there was changing of a number of different characteristics. And I say, what's the word I'm looking for now? Sure, I'm trying to go programmatic, but I'm not going to. But anyway, the characteristics, but also in terms of like the start and ends of instrumentals, whether there's decay on the songs, whether it's a cold ending or you understand, or there's a fade out, whatever it may be, right? That they'd have to go and put that information in so that obviously the playback system works effectively as well. And as the DJs do use it, there's not abruption, or it doesn't say that, let's say vocals start immediately. Maybe it's not marked off correctly, it's marked incorrectly. They do a lot of work, right? Right. Anyway, okay, so the song database will also contain the copyright details required for accurate reporting to the collection societies, for example, for us, SAMRO, right? The requirements of each music slot in the programming clock for each hour of the week, specifying what category, style, or era of the music would be acceptable to as information that you would need in these three sets of main data. And then third is the scheduling rules that apply to the programs or in different hours, programs, day parts, or day of the week. Such rules will typically require the computer to avoid playing two songs by the same artist in the same hour, and specify minimum repetition intervals for songs in different categories: A list, B list, different eras. And you saw like in the previous video, there was a bit of a there was you know, like a drop down list that you could pick. Again, the categories are created by the station. I'm saying by the compiler themselves, alongside with obviously the program manager, etc. Right, and it will go into like let's say 90s, 80s, 2000s, obviously current recurrent ones as well, classics, and then they would do like A, B, C, D, nine, or not nine, but X, Y, Z, whatever it may be, and go and according to that. Or they'd also do, let's say, a B1 or B2 or B3, whatever it may be. And again, that would be something that would be specific to that particular, how that particular station is decided to categorize certain music. All right. Anyway, this program can be asked to avoid playing a song in the same day parts until it had been played at a specific or specified. Excuse me. I'm going to say that sentence again. So this program can be asked to avoid playing a song in the same day part until it had been played at a specific number of other times of day. Um, for example, the previous Friday music schedule when devising the music for Monday's programming, or even, funny enough, Friday to Friday as well. Because let's say you are listening to a specific show that you do like, and it's a Sunday afternoon or it's Saturday morning, whatever. Like, we also have to be very wary that the from show to show we don't have this reprise of maybe 6 or even 7 songs throughout the 3 or 4 hour show. That besides them being a recurrent hit, so top hits, all right. uh, if let's say we find that there's a classic song that's constantly being played, there's an error in the way that we have obviously uploaded and programmed them, saying this particular side of our playback system. Anyway, depending on the station format, the program can be required to ensure appropriate quotas of music for a rand of errors are always included in a specific time period. All right. It's a lot of information, but I think it's very straightforward as you now have such a massive understanding, a much broader understanding of radio as it is, and all these little elements have been mentioned here, there, and everywhere, and are being put together here quite. I mean, it's not quite comprehensively would be a better way of saying it. A total library of songs may be divided into categories by era or genre or other defining characteristics. As we said there before, most stations playing a proportion of current hits maintain a classic A list, B list system, possibly obviously adding other lists for new releases, recurrent and current. Right. So scheduling software is something that you might see in your book. I'm just saying in your textbook, there's the reference of recurrent and current hits. Um, which are then split up, like I say, and categorized according to those really popular hits that we'd like to obviously keep playing, right? Scheduling software is versatile enough to obviously cope with a wide range of programming policies and styles, as you've seen in the video of Zeta already. A typical music radio station may only play or have between 500 to 2,000 tracks on rotation at any one given time. Some of them only have 700, 800, and you say only, but that's actually quite a lot if you think about we're rotating across a week, right? Across a week, we're not playing exactly the same music throughout that week, every single week in just different places. But think about how many songs you do play, let's say in an hour, let's say about 10 to 12. Let's say on average 30 songs per hour. If we have one, two, so let's say we have the breakfast, we have the brunch, the lunch, the drive, the nighttime breakfast, and the obviously the midnight show, right? Nighttime breakfast and sorry, not the midnight show, the late night show. Then we have the midnight show, and we have, let's say, a filler in between. So that's 8 shows. 8 by 30 is, sure. Where's my maths now? It's like, isn't it 240? That's quite a lot of songs, eh? Um, Let me do my 8 by 30 here. Yeah, I must use now a calculator. 8 by 30. 240. Huh? Well done, Chris. All right. Anyway, 240. Okay. So again, okay, for me, I would definitely use the 2000 tracks to have a better better, like I say, versatility in being able, and also again the way that you spice up, because the thing is you must play obviously the current recurrent and the top 40 bubbling under, etc. Like intermittent what's the word I'm looking for? Interchangeably the words there, right? You would that the way you can obviously play around is the classics, obviously, and then the speciality music is where you can play around a lot with to make it fresh. You understand? All right. A computer program is ideally suited to or the task of remembering with each of the hundreds of tracks that were last played and using a number of complex rules to decide when best, excuse the spelling there, to play it. So, but most music programs or programmers expect to go through the resulting daily logs, modifying the sequence to improve the flow and the feel of the programming. As I said to you, the full day job, right? The finished sequence can be important, should I say, into a station's studio playout system where the specified track can be lined up automatically. So for yourself, really recommend this, right? Because it's free and it's small. I'm saying it won't take up a lot of space on your PC. Very easy to use is to practice on something called Radio DJ. A lot of stations, community stations, web stations, whatever it may be, do use Radio DJ to be able to, let's say, and it's very easy to upload music, to categorize it, to be able to see, like, for example, this might be a consideration of what you might want as quick play over here. This will be obviously your music. This is the actual playlist that you're going to be playing live. You can go on automative or you can go on manual. And then obviously here would be the playlist itself. I'm saying the playlist for your show. And as it moves up and down, you can click between different tabs over here. So I know it's not helping much because it's a little snapshot over here. But the thing is that these terms that you become familiar with throughout, like I say, this particular lesson. And again, what you'll become very familiar with when we are talking about our radio practicals in studio, you can please do it now. So download Radio DJ there for free and install it and start playing around with that. Okay, so back to the music policy. The presenter is usually allowed to deviate from the computer selection to respond to current events. So, for example, we have someone that dies. So, let's say when Michael Jackson died, we played like a whole day of Michael Jackson hits, whatever it may be, and obviously on anniversaries with Houston, whatever it may be, whoever, Hugh Masekela, I think, no, wait, Hugh has passed, yes, he has. So for example, like we would play these out of playlist, or should I say, scheduled playlist songs that would be okay with the station and the program manager, right? So music managers demand strict adherence, of course, to the music policy, not only as a result of a mistrust to the presenter's musical tastes, because we don't know better than the music manager. We like our own stuff. And so, again, we must pass it by the music manager or the program manager, but also because they understand like the full benefits of how to rotate the music schedule and how obviously to keep time spent listening longer, to extend that at the same time. And at all times, the manager is considered not to give a listener a reason to switch away from the radio station up in bold here. So a radio music director usually reports to the program director and plays a key role in obviously evaluating new music that might be considered for the playback system or for the playlist itself. So, for example, when we do have a lot of artists that do send their music over, there's normally a like a software system that they'll go and upload their music or submit their music to. Ideally, not directly to the music manager because that's a lot of emails from a lot of different artists. They will go and they'll include their codes, etc., whatever it is, their registrations. And then obviously the music manager will, in their week, go and listen to what might be. And then obviously research is this person trending somewhere? Are they, is the hit a good hit? Are we allowed to break new hits, etc.? Many of obviously the check boxes that must be obviously ticked off for the person to go ahead and say, cool, let's go ahead and play this on our station. The music director communicates, meets with music labels, provides and providers, independents, whatever it may be, and sometimes also meets with the artists and their managers, right? So, music director also takes active roles in coordinating music promotions, such as concerts, done jointly, obviously, with the record companies that obviously are bringing the artists through or allowing them to obviously to do this concert, or should I say, not allowing them, but they are creating the platform for them to, perform live. The music director will also work with a program director, so your program manager, right, on daily scheduling of music played by the station. Rotations are usually based on station research and that kind of gut feel that both the music and the program director have on their knowledge of the local target market, right? Okay, so for you and what I want to check up, like I say, in tomorrow's class, right? So Tuesday's class, is I want you to go and have a look at these different stations. So to come back with, so what programming and music format are the following South African radio stations? Just it's a simple station, a simple question that you can go there. Metro FM, Jacaranda, Lotus, Tux, UJ, Lesedi, Kaya, Radio 2000, Smile FM, Heart FM, BMH Radio, Massive Metro, and then Pelly FM, right? And then come back to me and say, okay, another way was the best way to go and look for it in the about us tabs for each one of these stations. If not, you're going to have to go and Google it, which is really not a difficult thing to do. Okay, right. So this is how I would like to end the lecture because we are using Genesis. And so you need to know, like I say, from start to finish. And I will also, again, train you briefly on the basics of how that works within the desk itself, right? Um, but very important, just give it a second, please, because it's always saying, just lagging a bit there. In our studio sessions, please, in the last week of this semester when they are scheduled. Okay. So next week, in other words. Okay, just give it a second. Maybe give it a minute. It seems on my PC it's always okay, a minute. There's a lot of things running here. All right. It'll pop up now. There we go. Yeah, so it's quite a long, it's quite a long, but it's comprehensive, and it is the, like I say, it is a great, obviously, video to have a look at and to watch. All right. Well, here we go. Enjoy. There we go. So move that over.
Well, hello there. Thanks for joining me today. I'm going to take you through the user interface on Genesis, showing you how to use it inside the studio. Let's start off with the main screen over here. You can see we've got 4 cart machines on top. Your system may only have 3 cart machines. This will
Just as a sidebar, because this is just, it's super interesting. So this is Andrew that's speaking. He's the one that developed Genesis. I only know Andrew because he did all, obviously he did all the stations that use Genesis here in South Africa. I would constantly meet with him. He is very droll, not that you would care, but what a great man. Anyway, but genius. Here we go.
correspond with the number of channels on your mixing console. We have the file list on the top right hand side. Here you can access any piece of audio that is in the system and bring it to air pretty quickly. And in the bottom right hand side we have the quick play keys. And the quick play allows you to get a music bed or sound effects, anything you like, on the air almost instantaneously. This is great for sound effects like cheering, clapping, or a sad sound effects if you're doing a competition. Let's start in the middle of the screen with the log over here, and you can see that everything is color coded. On this system, we have imaging as this purpley color over here. We have music in blue. And we have commercials in green here at the bottom. Now this allows us to look at the screen straight away and see what kind of content is coming up. So without having to read the names of the titles, I can see there's 3 greens here, hence 3 commercials are coming up. If I want to move stuff around the screen, it's very, very easy. I just click on the mouse and I can drag it like that. If I want to move an entire sweep of content, in other words, the content under a yellow heading, I can just drag that yellow heading, hold down the mouse, and drag it to where I want to on the screen. You can see the header and all the content under there has moved. Let's move it back again. I can drag a song from one break to another. Maybe I'm running out of time and I want to use that song after the commercial break. So I can quite easily drag this down here and drag that down there. All with the mouse. Nothing special here whatsoever. Let's look at each part of the screen in more depth now. As I said earlier, you may have 3 or 4 card players on your screen, and that corresponds to the number of channels that you have on your mixing console for Genesis. The last channel will always be used for auditioning and also playing in items from the quick play screen over here. The first channels will be used to crossfade music and generally just play what's in the queue on the air. On your mixing console, you may be able to start the Genesis channels from there by simply pushing the on button, and that's just like starting an old turntable or a CD player playing. So when you push on the desk,
hottest DJ mixing the beats, beats.
The channel will actually start playing straight away. You'll also notice that a green arrow actually appears on the screen. Let's try that again. You see that green arrow over there? That tells me that this channel is actually in segue mode. So all the content underneath here will keep on playing. And that is actually a flashing green, which means the system will keep on playing until you tell it to stop. You can actually deactivate the green arrow by just clicking on it or pushing F8 on your keyboard. And you can see there it is. I'm going to push F8 again, and the green arrow comes on again. So if you want to talk after this song is complete, you can actually just click on there and then the system will stop. You can do your live read or do your back announcing, and then you can fire the channel again from the desk, or even go to channel 2 or channel 3. Now on some systems, the yellow header may be set to stop the channel as well. So let me switch on the green arrow there. You can see it's actually flashing green. I'm going to move this commercial sweep to the top, and you can see now it's flashing red, which means I'm in auto segue mode, but there's nothing left to play. If I drag another song above the yellow header, it's green, flashing green again, which means once the song is complete, it will carry on playing this song over here. Let's actually try that with a jingle and a track, and let's see how that works. I'm going to stop on here, and I'm going to drag this imaging over here, and you're going to see once I push play, it's automatically going to crossfade from this imaging to this song without me doing anything else. Once the song is playing, you will see that arrow will actually then start flashing red because there is a yellow header coming up. Let's do that.
These beats are hot. In the mix with the baddest DJ.
So there you go over there. You can see it's actually flashing red. And if I drag another song to the top, it's now flashing green again. So basically red means I'm in segue mode and there's nothing left to play. Flashing green means I'm in segue mode and there is something left to play. Or you can switch it off completely and it will stop playing after the song is complete. It won't stop playing straight away, it will stop after the song. If you want to stop it playing straight away, you can push the stop button or the pause button like you would on any kind of player, but of course we wouldn't recommend that while you are on the air. Okay. Now you can actually do that on any channel you actually like. So firing from the desk will switch on the green arrow, okay, and then you can play on channel 2 if you want to. You can actually switch off the green arrow, and then you can crossfade manually from channel 1 to channel 2 or channel 3. And just like you would from one CD player to another CD player, or from one turntable to another turntable. Or you can leave the system in automatic mode and it will mix by itself. Those are the card players over here. That's 1, 2, and 3. Card number 4 works exactly the same way, and I can indeed play stuff on there if I want to. I can drag this piece of imaging in here. I can actually drag the piece of imaging into any channel I like. But let's just drag that imaging in over here, and I can push play.
Blaze in the steel.
And just like any other channel, the channel will play normally, but you cannot fire this channel from the desk. The reason for that being is you have to be able to switch that channel off and on so that you can actually fire content from the quick play. So for example, if I click on this best music over here,
The station with the best.
you can see it starts playing straight away in channel 4, no matter which one I actually click on. Countdown.
5, 4.
So we don't want you to open the channel and fire something in the queue. We want you to open the channel so it's ready for you to play something from here. Also, listening to something on the file list, which we'll look more in depth just now, also allows you to select, it also plays on channel 4 as well. But of course, in this case, you would want to put channel 4 on pre-fade listening on the desk. So the listeners at home don't listen to what you're doing. So let's click on that one over there, click over here. And you can see by default it actually goes to channel 4 as well. So 1, 2, and 3 are your general purpose on-air channels, and channel 4 is reserved for the quick play and also for listening to stuff off the air as well. Let's look at the buttons around the screen now. And let's start with these ones in the top left-hand corner. You can see there's a live assist button, a satellite button, an automation button. And these are the 3 modes that Genesis can work in. Live assist, as the name suggests, is when you, the DJ presenter, are in charge and you are actually telling the system what to do. If you want to play the same Whitney Houston song 3 times in a row, the system will let you do that. And you have complete control over the system. Satellite mode is where one Genesis tells another Genesis what to do, and this is on stations where there may be one radio program, but that one radio program is over multiple radio stations, and maybe this Genesis is there to actually play in the commercials for that radio station. And automation mode is where you've gone home and the system is left to do its own thing. This should only be used when the system is completely unattended. If you're going to go to the bathroom for 10 minutes, do not put it into automation mode, because the system may look at your log and decide you need to add some more music or whatever. Rather just queue up multiple songs in a row, maybe 10 or 15-minute songs, and let them play in with the green arrow on in segue mode. Alright, so the 2 modes that you're going to use most often are live assist and automation. If you're coming in the morning and the system's been in automation mode, go back into live mode about 5 minutes before you take over. It's very, very important you do this before the top of the hour and the next hour's music and content has loaded. So 5 to the hour, put it in live assist mode, and then steer the ship in. Okay, let's have a look at the buttons on the right-hand side of the main screen over here. And you can see as I hold my mouse over them, it tells me what each one is. This is the file list over here. And basically this switches off the file list. If it's not already open, you can actually open it over there. This is priority play, which is at the bottom over here. And this is quick play. Okay, now priority play and quick play actually do the same thing. We're going to look at what they do very closely. If you're on another screen on Genesis, like maybe the voice tracker screen, and you want to go back to the main screen, you click on that button over there. And then this is the production screen over here, which we'll go into on another session. So let's have a look at the file list over here first. So this is, if it's not open, you can click it on there. And it's been placed so it fills up most of the screen on the side here. Let me just make it a little bit bigger. And on the file list, you can actually drag any content that you actually like onto the main screen. Now, I must say, this system is completely open. Your management may have decided that they don't want you dragging in music and that some of these functions may be restricted. But this system is completely open. So I've got some tracks over here. I can sort by card numbers, and this is very, very important over here. You can see, for example, on this system, everything has a card number. So let me go to the All category over here, which shows you all of the audio in my system. And you can see everything has a card number. The commercials begin with 0. The imaging over here on this system begins with I, and the music begins with M. And what I've actually done over here is, like, my 60s music begins with M6, and my 80s music begins with M8. And my 90s music begins with M9. And for this demo, I have some non-royalty music, so nobody can copyright claim this, and I put that under MQ. Everything that is on the system, and it is quite small on this one. I've only got 288 files on here. And again, everything is color-coded, so you can see that my commercials are in green, my imaging is in purple, and my music over here is in blue. I can sort by the card number over here. I can also sort by the title, and I can sort by the artist as well. And if I'm looking for something over here, like, let me click on title, and I'm going to type in love, and it takes me straight there to Love is a Battlefield, Love Me Again, and Love Somebody. And I can do that on artist as well. I can just click on here and go MIC, and it takes me straight to the Michaels over here. Once I found the audio that I want, I can actually just drag it onto my queue and actually play it straight on the air. I can drag it into a card player as well. By the way, if I drag something into a card player and I fire that card player, it will play what is in that card player first and then move on to the queue. If the card player is empty, it will start with whatever is at the top of the queue. Let me just go to my music non-royalty selection. So if I drag this in over here and I start playing, it starts playing what's in the queue. In the card player. If I drag this over here to the top of the queue and my card player is blank, it will actually play that. Okay. You can also do a more in-depth search. Rather than just typing in love over there, if I want to find out all the songs that have actually got something like hot, let's say hot for example, I'm going to click on title, and I'm going to click on this magnifying glass over here and type in HOT. And you can see now it's found everything that's got hot. You can see it's found hot there in the word photograph, but there's hot at the beginning over there, there's hot at the end, and you can see how quick that was as well. And once I've found the track I'm looking for, I can once again just drag it over to my playlist or into my card player. If I want to reset that, I just click on a category again, and I've got the entire database. You saw me just now. If I want to pre-fade one of these songs, let's go back to my royalty, non-royalty I should say, and you can see over here I want to play this. I want to play this from the middle. I can click on there, click on play, and it starts playing straight away on channel 4. By the way, if you have a look at the bottom over here, you can see this green area marked here is my intro where I can speak over, and that purple marker over there is the natural mixing point. So if I just put two songs back to back, it's going to mix in the next song over there. That intro, by the way, let's just drag this in over here. When I play over here, you can see there's actually a countdown for the intro, so I can speak over that. That intro also appears on the log over here. Now, normally this music would have vocals, I should imagine, but we're using some royalty-free music. Most of it does not have vocals. On the buttons at the top over here, we have an info button, which is if we want to change the title or the artist. Maybe we've done a spelling mistake over here, or I just want to see what music format the audio is, and I can have a look at that over there. There's more information over here, for example, if you're running multiple radio stations and things like that, but really this is more for production work than for the actual on-air use. Let's actually look at these buttons over here. We've got top and end, and as the name suggests, if I click on top over there, it adds it to the top of the queue. As you can guess, the end will add it to the end of the queue. So if I scroll all the way down, you can see there's that track over there. And deck 1, 2, 3, 4 do exactly that. Deck 1, deck 2, deck 3, and deck 4. So I've got the same song now in all 4 decks. Of course, you can also just drag the song into the card player as well. No problem there at all. That is the file list. You can see there's multiple categories over here, radio station to another, and you may even have a category for your own personal items, maybe to put your music beds and whatever else in there. Okay, let's have a look at the quick play at the bottom over here in the bottom right hand corner, and this is for getting content quickly on the air. You may have some sound effects in here. So you may be running a competition, and if the caller on the line gets the answer right, you may want a clapping sound effect. You may want a jeering sound effect if they get it wrong. Or it may just be an interview that you're going to be playing later. But as you can see, if I click on here, it's going to play straight away on your last channel, whether it be channel 3 or channel 4.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
And you can actually play 2 things on top of each other. So I could actually have a music bed, and I could click on something else as well. So let me do that. It's going to sound very messy. In fact, I've got an idea. Let's actually drag a track from here, and this is how you populate the page. So let's actually just drag this one from here. And I can drag it onto my quick play page. I'm going to click on there, and you can see there it's got the title. It was time over there. I can right click over here, and I can change the colors. So let's make that maybe red writing on a black background. Click on there. There we go. And if I want to change the title, I could actually say that, maybe this isn't called time. Maybe this is my show music bed. Oops, let's get the case right. And let's click on over there. See, it says show music bed, but of course in the main list it's still called time over there. So let's click on here.
The station with the best music. Best music.
I love the music.
So you can see there, I actually chose a music that had vocals on. That's probably the only song on the list that has vocals on it. But there you go. You saw me playing 2 things at the same time. So you could have like maybe like a fanfare music bed playing in the background, and you can still play your sound effects over that if you want to. Now, the one thing about the quick play as well, you don't just have to use it. I can actually use this to drag content on here. The same way I can drag content from my file list, I can drag content from my quick play as well. So let me drag that Blazing the Steel, and let me drag that over there, and there it is over there. So you could actually use this as almost like a shortcut for maybe some content that you're going to need later on, like that interview, for example. And there you go. Now, at the bottom of the screen over here, we've got this priority play, and it's exactly the same as the quick play. The quick play is more personal, though. Like over here, I've got a morning show, mid-morning, and drive buttons. Down on the priority play, you would only have things like the news jingle, the sports jingle, things that are common to everybody. So you wouldn't drag a personal imaging on the priority play. If you want to create a brand new page on the quick play, you can right click over here, you can go add page. You can add a user page or a station page. You should inquire which one you should be using, because that depends on how your station is made up. But in this one, I'm just going to choose a user page, and I'm logged in as a user DJ at the moment. And I'm just going to say there, let's say overnight, like that. Click on OK. And after a couple of seconds, the overnight page has appeared, and now I can drag some content into that page. Really that simple. If you want to replace a button, you can actually just drag another button, another song over it, or another track. And let's go there. He says, are you sure you want to replace this? And you say yes. And if I want to blank that button completely, I can right-click on it and choose None, and then click on OK, and you can see that that button is now blank again. All right. You can also drag stuff from the playlist into the quick play as well. So I can drag this Vlad song over here, and I can drag that into there. So of course you can't drag stuff from here into the file list, but pretty much every other way it actually works around. By the way, I hope you've noticed up until now, the only thing I've used is the mouse. The only time I used the keyboard was to actually look for a song on the file list. So everything is naturally drag and drop with a mouse. Let's have a look at the buttons on the bottom of the screen over here. I'm going to get rid of the priority play because we're not using it right now. And there we have these buttons along the bottom. Now, at the moment, we are on the playlist screen. Now, this is our playground. This is where we can drag stuff around, and let's drag that down, for example, over there. And on the next button over here, this is the log screen. Now, this is what the music department, the programming department has sent through to you. Now, I cannot drag stuff over here because this is their word, if you like. What I can do, though, is I can actually drag content off here, and I can put it onto my playlist. So let's say, for example, I accidentally deleted this 1442 break over here, so I'm going to delete that now. I'm going to hit the delete button on the keyboard. By the way, if you do want to delete stuff, I did not mention that earlier, you can actually hit delete over here. If you go delete on a yellow header, it will delete the entire sweep. So there we go. So I've accidentally deleted the 1442 break. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to go back to my log, and I'm going to go up over here to 1442, and there it is over there. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to click on this Q button over here and go back to my playlist, and what it's done is it's added that 1442 break to the bottom of my list. So I'm going to drag that back to the top of the screen again. And let's place it over there, and boom, there it is, back where it should be. And another trick you might want to do is if you want to drag maybe an individual song, so maybe I go back in time to 1400, let's say I didn't play this song over here, I can actually drag that into an unused car player and then drag it back down again over there. You'll notice when I'm not on the log screen that this Q button over here becomes an X button. It's also a way of deleting as well, but it does exactly the same thing as the delete button on your keyboard. So you've just got both choices. This is the history button, the third button over here, and this shows me what I've played. And the most recent song will be at the top. Now, you know what it's like. You play 3 songs in a row, and you can't remember what the first song that you played was. So you can click on the history button and just do your back announcing from here. What I can also do as well is if I'm playing a song on the air, let's drag this song over here, and let's play that on the air. Now, while that song is actually busy playing on channel 1, what I can do is actually go to my history button over here, and if I click on this preview button, I can actually hear how the song ends. Let's say I don't know how the song is going to end. I can click on the end of the song, click on play, and you can see it's playing now the end of the song on channel 4. So that's just a little thing if you're not familiar with the music that you're actually playing and you just want to know how it ends. So let's stop that over there. The fourth button over here is a bump list. Now what the bump list, this is a very American concept, is if you delete something and maybe the next hour you don't have enough music, you can actually go to your bump list and see what's there and actually drag that back in as well. So like if I want to drag that heroism back, I can just drag that there and then just drag it back onto my playlist. I don't think there's many radio stations that actually use that bump list over here, but there you go. So those are the 4 log modes that you've got. You've got the playlist, which is your playground, the log, which is the word according to the music and programming department, the history, which shows you what you've actually played, and the bump list over here. As I said, the 5th button will become the delete button, or if you're in the log window, it becomes the Q button. This is users over here. Now, most systems only have one user, but you may decide that you want multiple users or multiple radio stations, so we could use that over here. But on this system, we've only got the one user. This is the panes page, which is not there. There we go. It was hidden away. Now the panes page over here has three functions. It's you can have a weather, and there's different ways we can actually bring the weather into the system. Usually the Genesis system, unfortunately, is cut off from the internet, so it doesn't have anywhere to get it from. This is the I page over here. Now this gives you something that you're selected on, like over here. Now the reason why there's so much blue space over here is you can actually have a picture of the album cover over here if you want to. And then this last one over here, some radio stations do. They can have live reads on the system, and you can actually have the live read appear on here. So you can click on a cart over here, which is a live read, and then it will automatically open the panes and then show you the actual information in this window over here. What you can also do as well is click on open, and you can actually then click on a live read manually, and some radio stations do that as well. So if you have a problem with paper going missing for live reads, maybe that's what you want to do. And you can see you can open this window pretty far. You can also set the font over here so it's big enough for everybody to read. So most radio stations don't use panes at all, but that is the three functions of that button over here. And then this final button down here is the preview. You saw me that using just now when I was previewing something in the history screen. And this button is exactly the same as this one over here. So the same way I can preview stuff here, I can preview stuff over here. And again, it all plays on channel 4. But of course, again, if you are previewing, you want to put that channel on pre-fade listening or queue on your console so the listeners at home don't hear what you are actually up to. Let's have a look at some of the more intricate ways that we can actually set up a mix. As I told you earlier, if you have a look at this track over here, you can see there's a purple mark over there, and that shows me that the people who enter the music have decided that if I just put two songs back to back, they will actually mix at that point. And it actually works very, very well. And while your system's in automation at night, that's what it's going to use to mix songs from one to another as though there is a presenter sitting there. And you can see each one of these songs over here has a purple mark, which shows where the next track will actually mix. Okay, now if we want to be a bit more precise on that, what we can actually do is actually tighten that mix if we want to, or we can even have a listen to how that mix is going to work. So what I'm going to do over here is I'm going to double click on this Blazing the Steel imaging, and if you have a look over here, you can see there's this Too Cool for School song above it, and this Modern Baroque song below. So let's double click on here. And I'm just going to make that a little bit smaller so we can see what's above there. So there we go. So that's our imaging in the middle. That's our Too Cool for School song on top over there. And this at the bottom is this one over here is our Modern Baroque song. So let's see how that would actually mix on the air.
Blazing the steel. Bring the heat. Mix it non-stop with the hottest DJ.
Okay, so I think we can probably do a little bit better than that. So, in fact, what I would probably have done on this one is actually maybe move that start of audio in a bit closer. But I'm actually going to drag this song backwards like this. And I'm going to drag this one over here backwards a bit as well. So that comes in while the song is still pretty loud. So let's hear how that sounds now.
Blazing the steel. Bring the heat. Mix it non-stop with the hottest DJ.
Okay, I think you'll all agree that that sounded a lot tighter. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to click on Apply Changes over here. And when it actually gets to that point over here, it's actually going to mix it exactly like that. So if you're going to go out and have like a 15-minute smoke break, you can actually make sure that the music actually mixes the way that you want to. Now, another thing that you can do on some systems, now this depends on the type of sound card you have and how your system is set up. You can actually have the audio lower itself as well. So I'm gonna, if I double click on that little red bar there, and I'm going to double click over there, I can actually bring this down. Now, those of you who are used to editing software like Adobe or Pro Tools will of course know how to do this. But what's going to happen over there, if my sound card supports it, the actual audio will actually come down there. Now, there was no need to do this on this particular track because the song was actually fading out anyway. But maybe you've got something like this beginning over here was too loud. Maybe what I wanted to do is actually bring in the level slowly. I could actually do that over there. And again, I can click on Apply Changes. And when it actually gets to that point, it's actually going to mix just like that. Let's actually do this one over here, and I've got a header before that. So let's just drag that track down like that. And once again, let's have a listen over there.
The station with the best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Now, okay, so this has got like a nice little sort of bump at the end there. So let's actually start bringing that track in over here. And again, this is pretty tight. So let's do that over there. And of course, because this jingle is much louder than the end of this song anyway, it's going to sort of crowd it out. So let's have a listen to how that sounds now.
The station with the best music.
I love the music.
Best music.
Okay, that sounded a lot better. So I'm going to click on Apply Changes there. And again, once it gets to that song in the list, it's going to play it like that. Now, one important thing, if I start dragging things around at this point, it's actually going to break that link. And then the songs will play as they were recorded into the system. To show you over here as well is these three Roman numerals at the bottom. Now what these do is these mute the channels. So if you only want to work with like channel 2 and not channel 1, you can actually mute channel 1. So let me just show you how that works. I'm going to click on 1, click on play. You see it's not playing on the air. And there we go.
The station with the...
So again, I could actually mute channel 2. And that imaging is playing, but we can't hear it because we've actually muted the channel. Here comes the third track, and there we go. So that's just really to mute the channels, and you may or may not need these depending on how your desk is wired up as well. These are actually very, very important in the next section, which is voice tracking. Now, to get into voice tracking, it's this button over here. It's the microphone. That's the microphone on the stand. On the right hand side of your screen. So let's click on there, and you can see we've got this window open over here. And let's say we want to put some voice tracks. Let's say we've got a staff meeting today at 5 o'clock, and everybody's got to attend. It's a very important meeting. So what we're going to do, let's open the log over here, and you can see there is, I have a log for the 14th and the 15th. So I'm going to click on 14, click on open. And there is my log for today, starting from midnight all the way through to 2300 hours. Now, I can actually jump to 5 o'clock by clicking on the corner over here, on the time, sorry. And let's go to 1600 hours. And there we go. So now we're 1600. Actually, let's go to 1700, sorry. And there we go over there. So what I can actually do is, let's say I want to do a voice track after this Yoi tracks over here, this warrior song. So let's go insert, and it says, what is the voice track number? Now this is a radio station preset, so your voice tracks may begin with something different, but on this one, they begin with the letter V for voice tracks. So let's click on OK, and there's the actual voice track sitting over there. So what you would actually do in this case is you would actually record, and you can see it's busy recording your voice, or whatever else is plugged into your system. And you can back announce. You can say that was Warrior by Yotrax, and coming up after the break, we've got that song over there, Glokchenko by Vlad. Thank you for staying with us. And you click on stop, and there's my voice over there. And then I can actually mix my voice like over the intro of the song or whatever, just like I would on the actual mini tracker. And once I'm happy with that, I can actually go to my next one and then do another voice track. Let's go insert. And you see over there it chose number 0, now it's choosing number 1. And let's go record. Once I'm finished talking, I can hit the record button again, and there's my little voice track. And there we go. And again, we've got the mutes over here. So, and these may be essential depending on how your desk is wired. You may have to record the voice without the audio playing in the background. Otherwise, you might create a loop. But again, if your desk is wired up correctly, you should be able to record the voice track without having to use these mute functions. But they can be very, very essential on some mixing consoles. If you want to zoom in and out, by the way, you can zoom in and out. You can zoom to max. You can zoom to min, or you can go back to normal by clicking on this indicator over here, this where it says 300 milliseconds. If I click on that, it takes me back to normal. Once you've actually finished all your voice tracks, you can click on save, and that is now saved on the log. In fact, if I go back to my main screen over here, let's click on the log screen, let's go to 1700, and there's our two voice tracks over there. Now, you can also prepare the voice tracks beforehand in your PowerGoal program, and even GLG can put some in for you as well. But if you want to do them on the fly, you can create the voice tracks very, very quickly inside the Genesis voice tracker. Go to some final last minute things that you may find very, very useful. As I told you, your system may be programmed to stop at the yellow header. Maybe not. Maybe your system may be programmed to play through the yellow header. That's really up to the radio station itself. But if you want some more yellow headers, what you can do is, like, let's say I decide I want to stop after this Modern Baroque song. I can click on it and go System and go Insert End Mark, like that. And then the system will stop playing after Modern Baroque is finished. So if you want to plan your sweeps where you're going to start and stop beforehand, you can of course do that with that end mark. Also, you don't have to go to System. You can actually just click on somewhere over here, like there for example, and go to E on the keyboard. And that also inserts an end mark for you as well. And it will definitely stop. Whether you stop or don't stop at these headers over here, it will definitely stop playing when it hits these end markers. You can drag these end markers around, by the way, and you can also delete the end markers as well. Just highlight them and hit delete on the keyboard. Ways to start a Genesis playing inside the studio is by firing it from the mixing console. Now, your mixing console may not support that, or maybe your remote starts are not wired up. What you can do in that case is you can use F9, F10, F11 and F12 on the keyboard to start channels 1, 2, 3 and 4 playing respectively. So for example, if I push F9 on the keyboard,
Die osteoïsreeks van aanvullings teiken seer en stywe gewrigte.
You can see that channel 1 starts playing straight away. And similarly, if I had something inside the card player, it would start that playing as well. You can also, of course, still use the mouse, but if you've got like 3 hands all over the place, it may be easier just having one hand on the fader on the mixing console and the other hand on F9, F10, F11 or F12 on the keyboard. It's really up to you. And that's about it for the Genesis user interface. Genesis is very, very powerful. We can program the quick play buttons to do all sorts of wonderful things, but we've actually tried to make it as easy as possible for the presenter so they only have to do the minimum to get the content playing on the air. I hope you found this very, very useful. There is a 2-page quick sheet available. If you don't have it, please speak to your manager, and I'm sure they can actually give you a copy of that. And that covers all of the topics that we've gone over in this video. But of course, the best way is to practice. Maybe start this video again and pause it and try some of the concepts that we actually mentioned in this video. Thank you.
All right, so let's stop the share there. And let's end off the lesson. Let me just stop the chat. All right, so that's it for music, and I hope you learned a lot. Again, it's there for replay and over again. And again, I will see you in the next